Hello again. It's a very exciting day today because we're going to have a look at Magnus Carlsen's road to the World Championship. And it was, as you know, he didn't play the candidate tournaments in 2011 for some really strange reason, because I'm pretty sure he would have won that tournament and then he would have to play Anand, and he probably would have gotten world champion already in 2011, because he's like by far, already back then he was the strongest player, I think. But now it's 2013 and he's playing the candidates tournament. And as usual, the candidates tournament is an 8-player chess double round robin, and that means that you meet every player with both black and white pieces. And it took place in London from March 15 to 1st of April 2013. So it was a very, very tight schedule. I guess it was because maybe they, I don't know why. It seems like a very tight schedule to play so many rounds, not so many rest days. But there are less rest days nowadays than it was maybe 20 years ago. Then there were more, like you played probably every other day. Now it's less rest days here. And here are the participants, a very interesting lineup here. Magnus Carlsen, who is the highest rated player, 2872, and the three highest rated players, Carlsen, Aronian and Kramnik. So Carlsen is like 60 points better than everyone else, but also Aronian and Kramnik is 28 plus, so they're also very strong players. And then it was the top 3 finishers in the Chess World Cup, and Peter Svidlo won that World Cup, and then Grishuk and Ivanchuk must have gotten second and third. And all of them are strong players, 2750-ish. It's fun because I think this might have been the last tournament where Ivanchuk really could perform at a high level. I think soon he dropped to under 27. He was no longer strong enough to play candidates. So this is definitely his last chance. I think this was the last tournament, a big tournament he played, so it will be interesting to see how he does. I actually met him and talked to him once. He's a very, very nice guy. And then there is one wild card, and it was given to the world number 4 at this time, Teimur Rajabov, 2793, also a player with great talent who never got so far in the candidates, but I think he played like 5 candidates or something like that. So it was, or at least like 3 candidates, so it was quite good. And then of course the winner of the last candidates tournament, Boris Gelfand from Israel. I think he might be a Russian or a Soviet Union that moved to Israel and changed to Israel because he's Jewish, obviously, if he moves to Israel. And his rating also fine, 2730. It was a big surprise that Gelfand won last time, because he, like Ivanchuk, is quite a bit older than the rest here, and usually your mental capacity and your chess playing skills goes down after 40. So it was impressive that they still play here. And this has a very, very exciting finish. I won't spoil it, but you can read, of course, Magnus won it. But it had a very, 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 very exciting finish, and I will talk about that because I will show some games even that Magnus loses here in this tournament to make it exciting. Because Magnus starts this tournament very strong, but there is some upset at the end here. But let's not spoil it too much. And first game I've decided to show you is a game from round 3 with it's Boris Gelfand against Carlsen. I think this is the first and probably only Gelfand game we will see here against Magnus. It could be nice to get the Gelfand game. and Gelfand is a strong theoretical player. He played even in his World Championship match against Anand, but then he was destroyed in the speed chess in the rapid playoff. But he's a good theoretician, and one of his weaknesses, I think, is quite likely to get into time trouble, and I think that's the reason why he's not never got higher rated. I think so. They're playing the classical Queen's Gambit declined, and Magnus is going for the Cambridge Springs variation. It's an O-line that played for a long time, and it was also used, I think, by when Kasparov got world champion in the candidates match final. He played a very, very old player who was world champion a long time ago called Smyslov. And Smyslov, he must have been over 60 when he played Kasparov in 1984. When Kasparov got world champion, he got third in that tournament when he was like 60. So that because Smyslov was world champion already in the 50s, 1950s. So that was very impressive. And Smyslov used this line, and also I think nowadays Drev, a Russian Grandmaster, also used this. There is it's definitely an interesting line here. I think we might have seen it before, but then if you want to avoid the shenanigans, you can basically you can take here and play like something like this. If you don't want to get the Cambridge Spring shenanigans. And here there are two moves. White does this one now. The old main line is to go here, and then here, and then you have to watch out so you don't take back and lose your knight. And then they take and take and take and go back. And black develops passively, but it's a little bit like the this reminds me a lot of the Moscow variation, where white also gets like the center, but black gets the bishop pair. So this is probably nothing for white. Before, this was considered to be like good for white, but nowadays people understand that giving up the bishop there doesn't give any hope of an advantage. So that's why Magnus, instead of this, play like more modern style. He takes here, and he takes with the knight here. Now there are two moves. Actually, Magnus does the little bit more risky move here. Rook c1, this is also a possibility, but it can become a bit of the same here. Then you can play, I don't really exactly remember, but something like this is quite logical. And maybe try to develop, and maybe now black gives up his bishop instead. But you don't have to do bishop b4, you can also do something else, of course. Maybe just take here, could be fine. And then develop. So he goes here, and this is obviously a pawn sacrifice that black does not accept. Black could win this pawn. It's an unimported pawn right now, but later maybe it's still a pawn, and it gives black something to hope for. But the computer doesn't like that. Obviously, white is just gonna castle and try to get some play on the king side. Yeah, then so he does bishop a3 instead. I'm sure this is part of Magnus' preparation. And then, because the knight is here, you have to develop the bishop like this, or trade it here. So when he goes here, Magnus decides to trade that bishop. He has less space, so it's good for black to trade some pieces. And the opening has been a success for black. It's white has the center, but black managed to trade two pieces, and he has this typical setup from a lot of openings, Caro-Kann, Scandinavian, Slav. That's just a solid structures. Even if white has the center, it's just hard to do anything for white often. But Gelfand does his best to create play here, and he does e5. It's a bit of a risky move because it fixates your pieces on the same squares as your the pawn has same squares as your bishop, so you get like a bad bishop. But it's clear that white signals that he wants to go for an attack somewhere, maybe like do a rook lift, maybe go back here and maybe go with a queen here and maybe knight here or something like that. It would be good to do something like that. So yeah, it's clear. It's an interesting move, definitely. So Magnus decides to do h6 and luft, getting luft, and this one obviously white maybe wants to win the bishop pair here. So but black doesn't care about that right now, because black managed to open up the c file. Like it's unlikely that white can create any kind of an attack against the black king. Also the knight on f8 is a strong defensive piece in case of an attack. So white should give up his hope for kingside attack, and then actually e5 might have been a positional mistake, at least the way the game has developed. It's still even, but then maybe a plan for white to play for d5 and play for a passed pawn here in the center was more would have given white a bigger chance of playing for a win, I think. So let's see what happened. So here he does that. Obviously the queen is getting pinned here, and Gelfand here might play a little bit of a mistake. He tries to still go for the attack, but because of the openness of the position and c5, it doesn't look reasonable. The computer likes this one, trade queens, and this kind of an endgame is likely to end in a draw, I think. Let's also look what happens if he takes the bishop here. Computer doesn't like that. Let's see why. Okay, so he likes that for black. Yeah, this pawn is a little bit weak. Yeah. Still, it looks to me that this should be a draw, but yeah, the computer thinks that a2 is also weak. So here and then here, and maybe black is much better. I don't know. So let's see what happened. And it's normal for black. Try to doubling here, and now he goes for that exchange. Queens, the computer still likes this a little bit better, but it's weird that he doesn't go for f5 here. I would think that, like, if you do f4, then you have to do f5, or f4 was just a bit of a mistake. So let's see what's happening here. Take. Is there some kind of sorry, is there some kind of an attacking move here? Maybe here. Yeah, you can do like this now. About here. Okay, maybe take here down. Take. Yeah, maybe this would have been something for white to try, maybe, but still, yeah. Because of e5, there is a big risk that white will end up with bad bishop here against the knight. So I guess that's what will happen in the game also. I don't remember because it was a while since I picked these games to show you. Okay, so he's going for that instead of f5. Magnus takes, take, and bishop f2. Okay, so that's one advantage of f4, that he can prevent he can defend the d4 pawn with the bishop. Magnus goes back. Looks relatively even. I don't really like the computer's suggestion of queen f3, but maybe that's fine. Looks like a little bit. Maybe try to get the rook here. Yeah, the computer thinks this is equal also. It looks dangerous to get such a weak pawns, but so he goes here instead. Here, try to get the rook here, but why doesn't that work? It works, but it doesn't give so much. Maybe, yeah, he hasn't gotten luft either. So when he takes here, he would need to get luft then. Okay, let's see what happened. He decided to get luft at once here. Now Magnus trades here. d5. Yeah, looks correct. To try to looks good for white to try to trade and get a draw here. Black might be a little bit better here now, because yeah, it's still a little bit of a weak bishop here. Now Magnus is preparing this. Computer still thinks white should be able to hold this with correct play. So let's see how Magnus managed to to win this one. I guess it's just pushing the pawns. Yeah, looks dangerous to just push the pawns. So Gelfand does the right thing and try to get drawing checks here. Okay, so now is the losing move for black. For white, I mean, he made h5. Correct was this. If the queen goes here, of course, it's perpetuals already. What if you go here? Yeah, that's also drawing checks at once. Yeah, not so easy for black to get the queen back, because you can't go to e7 because of mating one, of course. What about here? Okay, so this endgame is apparently a draw. I would be a bit scared for white with these passes here. But I'm gonna trust the computer that is a draw. Okay, so after this one, black is better. White should have tried to go for drawing checks here instead of. Now black gets some tempi, and he also gets his pieces a bit back to defend against the drawing checks. So let's see, but still, yeah, still chances for drawing checks, I think. Okay, and here is the losing mistake. White is trading queens. Yeah, that endgame is obviously gonna be lost, I think. So correct chances was here, and it will still be technical problems for Magnus Carlsen to convert this to a victory. Keeping the queens is correct. Maybe he thought the reason that he traded queens is that he must have thought that this is a draw. Maybe he thought he can play like this. No, then it's just defending. It's not working. So let's see what happens here. Yeah, black has to play very exact, but he's he's finding the right moves, and he's exactly in time. Maybe this was a very good position for the knight, actually, because it cannot be taken because of b2, and it just prevents the white king from doing anything really. let's see what happens. And in the end it will be this kind of an endgame here where he does like this, maybe check here, and this is obviously winning position for black. So let's see here. Yeah, just go like this and maybe take that pawn and then that pawn, and it's just winning. Nice start for Magnus here in this game, defeating Boris Gelfand with black.